Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the Deputy Chancellor of Swinburne University of Technology, Mr. Trevor Brown.
Vice-Chancellor, members of University Council, members of academic staff, graduands, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for participating in this important ceremony where we acknowledge the achievements of graduates from the School of Science, Engineering and Design. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Tom Russo, who will deliver the occasional address to tonight's graduates. In fact, Mr. Russo's presence is twofold. He will also be receiving a special Swinburne Award. But first, some background on our guest. Tom graduated from Swinburne over 30 years ago and is a chemist and chemical engineer with extensive experience in many areas of industry in the manufacturing sector, particularly refining and petrochemical industries. Tom's experiences include a period of lecturing at Queensland Institute of Technology, after which he moved to the petrochemical industry, where he worked as an engineer and troubleshooter with the Altona Petrochemical Company in Melbourne's West. It is this work which has led to Tom being recognised as an expert in his field and has actually led to a special award from the university. I am delighted to announce that Tom Russo has been awarded the Chancellor's Alumni Achievement Award for his services to industry and the environment. Tom has devised an innovative process that combines caustic waste with carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas given off by most industries, and turns them into baking soda solution. Continuous carbonation, as Tom's process is known, is the first successful process capable of treating large quantities of waste. It is already responsible for eliminating 6,000 tonnes of hazardous waste per year. It is cheaper than other methods and, unlike them, is irreversible because the substances are separated once they are broken down. The environmental benefits are enormous. Tom's engineering consultancy, Hyperno Proprietary Limited, is now marketing the process internationally. In September 1995, Hyperno awarded a licence to one of the world's largest oil companies to install treatment facilities at all its plants worldwide. The continuous carbonation process has already won 5 national and state awards. In the last 2 years, the university is pleased to recognise Tom Russo's innovation in awarding him the Chancellor's Alumni Achievement Award. I now invite Mr. Russo to give the occasional address.
Thank you, Deputy Chancellor, and thank you to the university and the team who decided that I was worthy of such a beautiful award. I'm just going to take a moment, have a look, because I can't wait. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Hey, look at that. I can tell you that'll take pride of place in the awards cabinet that we've got at home. That's absolutely beautiful. I feel like the prodigal son who's come home after 30 and more years and been welcomed. And I'd like to very much give my heartfelt thanks to the university for that. Thank you very much once again. And now, Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, councillors, members of the academic community, graduates and guests, I have a very special honour of addressing you this evening, with my address really being principally aimed at our new graduates, their parents and their friends. I'd like to first of all start by painting a timeline scene. The time, 1956. There's a few people here who can remember that time, but not where I'm looking from. But it was quite a year. It was the year of the Melbourne Olympics and the beginning of the space race. It seems so long ago now. At that time, the talk was who would put the first satellite into space. There was this 13-year-old runt of a kid, you know, in Year 9 at Brighton Tech School. He was good at the trades and made up his mind to be a plumber. But then, in 1957, the Russians put up the Sputnik and science fever hit. He found a dream, had a vision. He was going to be a scientist and create new things. He was going to push back the frontiers of knowledge. This was the dream. He was going to do this despite the ridicule, the put-downs of some family, friends, the school system. The push at that time, in the 50s, was to get out, get a job, make money. He stuck it out. Finished Brighton Tech School with first prize in chemistry, a senior tech scholarship, Commonwealth scholarship, and went on to Swinburne, straight into the chemistry school to do a diploma of applied chemistry, which at the time was recognised by the professional institution as equal to a degree, because degrees at that time were only granted by the University of Melbourne, in Victoria at least. Swinburne had some hard, in some ways odd, but very fair characters on their lecturing staff at the time. Many of them were survivors of the Second World War. Some fine men of science and engineering who had seen the worst side of life. Those that I recall are Alan Brown, Eric Bode, John Ness, Jeff Hill, who still graces the Swinburne corridors once in a while, I understand. Bill Fricke, Len Feinberg and many others. I remember with particular affection Mr. Colin Gordon, who at that time was only the second person in Australia to call me by my real name, Gaetano. These were all men of compassion, dedicated men with dreams and visions for a better Australia. During my first year at Swinburne, Len Feinberg, the chem engineer on staff, convinced a handful of us to jump across to the chemical engineering course for an extra year. And if you tried hard enough, he said, you could do extra subjects, you know, there's always night school. And you could also complete, therefore, the diploma of applied chem. So you could have two in one, do them concurrently. So at this point, the detail changed of the vision, but the overall vision, the philosophy that was set in that 13-year-old remained intact. So by the age of 20, he graduated as a chemical engineer and applied chemist. And then the shock started. He started work. Slowing down to a job after working so hard at Swinburne for years was a bit hard to take. So he decided to continue part-time studies, and 3 years later he graduated with Swinburne's pioneering business diploma offered by the production engineering school at that time. This was then called the postgraduate diploma of industrial management. Having entered the workforce, the young naive Tom, or Gaetano, depending whether you can get your tongue around it, started to feel the workplace pressures that inevitably arise to burst your vision bubble in the workplace. And that pressure is summed up in one little word called politics. A whole new set of challenges now present themselves. How to be true to yourself, how to maintain freshness, professionalism, integrity. Push back, how do you do that? The young engineer had never been taught to play politics. Actually, most engineers aren't. But you know what? You soon learn that if you don't really want to play the game, you don't have to play. You just don't participate in it. Step back, analyse, continually analyse the company values and check if they merge or align with yours and your vision. Get yourself a broad experience. But be confident that if you want to play the game, your engineering training and good planning skills that you've been through the hard work learning at Swinburne will allow you to mix it and mix it with the best. You see, engineers are trained to be logical, professional, practical, economic, lots of adjectives here, conceptual, visionary, never forget the vision, rock solid. Whatever the branch of engineering, your training will always stand you in good stead. Remain faithful to it. It's one of the few professions where you can conceive an idea, develop it, and finally create or build it into working items. Engineers make things happen, and invariably, they do. Just look around you. All the proof is there for you to see. Unfortunately, they often find that the politicians in industry and the government bureaucracy steal the credit. The engineer has all the responsibility, is responsible for the disasters, and is often belittled in the successes because the engineer tends to put his head down, put his backside up and get into it. And I must not be sexist, even though I've got this age barrier. I should say he or she does all this. This young engineer learnt fast, honed up, pushed his ideas continually, sometimes subtly, sometimes vociferously, and the older I get, the crankier I get, and the more vociferous I get. He refused promotion when it came at a price that was unacceptable. Patiently, stubbornly, he worked at some ideas which have now only come to fruition and took 20 plus years. Things don't happen overnight. You have to build on them. And now as an aged man, you see, of 53, have now received some professional honours which I'm terribly proud about, including mostly this one tonight. This engineer before you is still learning, and I'll go down learning. Never stop. But what have I learnt? I've learnt that you owe it to yourself, the profession, the future of Australia, not to allow yourself to fall into the traps of throwing away your training for fear, short-term perceived gain, or to be bulldozed. Don't let yourself be forced by errant peers, supervisors, or ignorant, unprofessional management who are in the minority in the end. The majority aren't that, but you'll come across them. Don't be really forced by these people into doing things that you know in your heart of hearts are not the right thing to do. You are the engineer after all. You are the trained technologist. You are responsible for what you're doing. You create things. Remember, you are Australia's future. You are the clever country. Don't listen to anyone who tells you differently. They don't know what they're saying. Another little thing I've learned is that most things that masquerade as high-tech aren't. They're show and pictures. High-tech, in my definition at least, and seeing I've got the floor, I'll be arrogant enough to tell you the definition. High-tech is anything that achieves an objective in the simplest, most efficient manner. And remember, whatever you can ultimately dream, you can ultimately achieve. You cannot create what you can't dream, what you can't conceive, what you can't see in your mind's eye. This is preconception. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, amongst you who are graduating, tonight you join the ranks of the finest visionaries and doers in history, including the great engineer Leonardo da Vinci. I bet you never thought Leonardo da Vinci was an engineer. You always thought of him as the sorrowful Mona Lisa painter or the Last Supper painter. But he was an absolutely great engineer who in the end was one of the first men in recorded history to try and in fact measure specific heat and latent heat of water, because he wanted to know how to design things that ran on water and steam. People like Isaac Newton, Daniel Bernoulli, Michael Faraday. Without him we would have no electric motors. We would have no 20th century as we know it today. Rudolf Clausius. Hey, what do you know about entropy? Albert Einstein. These men of science and engineering, by their visions and discovery of simple yet elegant fundamental laws, and dare I say it, high-tech discoveries, laid the solid foundations on which our profession is based, and without which we would not have any of the wherewithals on which our 20th century society is based. And so, this evening, after your years of hard work, it's my honour, and very special honour, to welcome you, all of you, in front of me here, as fellow scientists, engineers, technologists, travellers, to the ranks of the finest, without qualification. You are the finely honed products of one of the oldest and finest engineering schools in the country, and fellow travellers to creating a better world. Once again, welcome. I wish you, finally, success amongst your perceived failures. There's always a light. There you will find it. Courage when you feel intimidated. Vision in all you set out to do, the fortitude, maturity and insight to stop, think, review and chart a better course when necessary. The integrity and professionalism to be honest to yourself, to your profession and society. And last but not least, I pray that your God, your own individual perception of your Maker, or whatever your religious persuasion, will bless you, your works, and Australia. Fellow travellers, Australia, the world, your future, our future together, my children's and your children's future, which to some of you may seem distant at this point in time. The 21st century is all out there. I'd urge you to go get it, guys and gals. Really go get it. And may God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russo, for those wise words of counsel for tonight's graduands. I'm sure that you are in fact a wonderful role model for them, and your success will in fact prove to be an inspiration to them in the future. Mr. Russo, it is a tradition at Swinburne that we make a small presentation to the deliverers of the occasional address as a memento of the occasion, and I would ask that you step forward to receive this gift. I now call upon the Academic Registrar, Dr. Tony Greig.
Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to inform you that in accordance with Statute 13 of Swinburne University of Technology, the graduands who will be presented by the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the Division of Science, Engineering and Design have fulfilled the conditions prescribed and are entitled to the award of diploma, bachelor's degree, graduate certificate, graduate diploma, master's degree or degree of Doctor of Philosophy, as the case may be, of Swinburne University of Technology. Deputy Chancellor, for various reasons a number of graduands have not been able to be present this evening and have made application for their award to be conferred in absentia. The names of the absent graduands are printed in the program, and I can inform you that these graduands also have fulfilled the conditions prescribed and are entitled to their appropriate award of Swinburne University of Technology.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Council of the Swinburne University of Technology, I admit the duly authorised graduands here present and in absentia to the appropriate award and to the rights and privileges of those awards. I now call upon Professor McLean, Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the Division of Science, Engineering and Design, to present his graduands.
Ladies and gentlemen, because of the large number of graduands to be presented this evening, proceedings would be unduly prolonged if every graduand is applauded individually. You are therefore requested to reserve your applause until the last graduand in each group has been presented, or, in the case of large groups, at the end of each column in the program. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduand on whom you have awarded the diploma. For the Diploma of Building Surveying, Shane Gary Turner. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduands to whom you have awarded the degree of Bachelor. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in Civil Engineering, Scott Jason Anderson. Joe Arena. Christopher John Baggett. Stephen Patrick Bock. Max Calzini. Lara Rebecca de Collagen. Stephen John Scott Devonish. Gregory John Dowling. Matthew Keith Elliott. David Bruce Ferry. Jonathan James Fullard. Adrian Francesco Giacchi. Petros Peter Giannis. Duncan John Hale. Paul Gerard Harberts. Neil David Hollingshead. Katrina Christina Mita. David Patrick Liperota. Mark David Livingston. Andrew John Marr. Cameron John McFarlane. Human Masaji. Zi Song Ning. Peter Pandolian. Matthew Alfred Parisi. Damien Bruce Sinclair. Peter John Vusick. Angela Elise White. With third class honours, Owen Thomas Cheek. Mark Raymond Gill. Paul Mannering Hamilton. Anthony Kirk. Christopher David Lyne. Rachel Patricia Millis. Matthew Lee Murray. Michelle Parente. Tanya Patterson. Nathalie Avril Standfield. Ross Hayden Tuckwell. Simon James White. With lower second class honours, Damiano Massimo Ambrosini. Stuart Alexander Ritchie. Craig Robert Shackelford. With upper second class honours, Andrew James Jelly. Christine Giovannis. Lachlan Robert McGregor. Joel Leo Norman. Joseph Anthony Tomasi. With first class honours, Emilio De Paulus. Hung Nguyen. Santa Seelan Pakianathan. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in Communication and Electronic Engineering, Mary Asher Nania. Shane Robert Hammett. Daniel James Ispista. Shisha Vatskotri Kushwanha. Dung Than Pham. Mikkel Severa. Ann Tan. V. Kin Tang. Chow Nok Tran. Kai Hoot Ng. With third class honours, Christopher John Beattie. Simon James Mollison. Dolly Rustom Naim. Sayed Bayfar Shakiba. With lower second class honours, Brian Gerard Crummy. Cosmos John Theodosiou. With upper second class honours, Simon Fidian. Dominic Albert Garcia. With first class honours, Shane Andrew Mayo. Paul Anthony Murtagh. Perry Coleman. Bradley Theodore Postma. Yarrick Uriga. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in Computer Systems Engineering, Andreas Bednars. Donald Peter Doosma. Scott Alexander Thompson. Zhu Truong. With third class honours, Malcolm Brett Cook. Fu La. Rob Mueller. With lower second class honours, Daniel Stewart Kent. Mark Robert Vanston. With upper second class honours, Merindal Lois Routley. With first class honours, Nicholas James Bonnet. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in Electrical Power and Control Engineering, Nguyen Ngoc Chow. With third class honours, Donald Paul Baxter. With lower second class honours, Alex Cavici. With upper second class honours, David Cyril Dan. Bradley Scott Gradwell. Peter John Purcell. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in manufacturing engineering, Jose Fernando Arredondo Martinez. Adam Paul Bain. Eddie Jr. Natalie Francine Einseidel. Corey Adam Grant. Shane Matthew Lee. Kathy Janice Lewis. Marius Madursky. Timothy David McCallum. Anne Novita. Andreas Sojihato. Petula Siobhan Stewart. Carl Walter Wild. With third class honours, Elise Birrell. Lisa Jane Helen Dingley. Kim Marie Looms. David John McCulloch. Evgenia Paraskevopoulos. Trevor William Thomas. Andrew Charles Blasveld. With lower second class honours, Louise Annette Abel. Vicky Bonita Bishop. Ivan Chalatzoukas. Heidi Leanne Sick. With upper second class honours, Yenny Artono. William Charles Kitson. Grace Rasmidiwi Kernia Wan. With first class honours, Rowan John Davis. David Shoesmith. For the Bachelor of Engineering with major studies in Mechanical Engineering, Vanessa Leslie Britt. Michael Dominic Cully. Magdalene Georgiopoulos. Nick Klinkatsis. Numeriano Larabida. Stephen Maheris. Christian MacLeod Norton. John Politis. Cameron McNaughton Robertson. Diane Sidat Samarasinghe. Christopher James Sewards. Toby David Sullivan. Veronica Lorenz Thomas. Anastasios Topalides. Andrew Caird Watkins. With third class honours, Stuart John Ballingall. Matthew Robert Belcher. Carol Ann Britton. Robin Lorraine Clark. Rosario Gandolfo. Jo Cho Sing Ho. Areth Koritsis. Alessandro Laspina. Timothy Paul Newman. Natasha Chekmian. Daniel Lucio Baricchio. With lower second class honours, Jeffrey Robert Ackland. Rowan Jeffrey Christmas. Angie Iano. Glenn Douglas Stagg. Ashley Stewart Thompson. Russell Samuel Wolfe. With upper second class honours, Paul David Anderson. John Graham Dangerfield. Duncan Peter Eigenram. David Jason Jackson. Bernard John Mackin. Adrian Craig Matthews. Adrian Lindsay Morfitt. Scott Bruce Morrison. Christopher John Parrish. Stuart John Richardson. Ian Stewart Ridley. Andrew Anthony Tamaro. Cameron Murray Wake. With first class honours, Bradley Graham Sinclair. Christopher Justin Taylor. For the Bachelor of Technology, Jeffrey Arthur Milner. David Wadlow. For the Bachelor of Technology in Building Surveying, Viviana Foriasig. Alan Grollo. Socrates Cromidelis. Jim Saganis. Mr. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates to whom you have awarded the Graduate Certificate of Engineering. Wong Kim Chin. Mr. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates to whom you have awarded graduate diplomas. For the Graduate Diploma in CAD-CAM, Shi Rong Zhu. For the Graduate Diploma in Computer Integrated Manufacture, Ranganathan Panmanarban. For the Graduate Diploma in Computer Systems Engineering, Timothy Raymond Barton. For the Graduate Diploma in Construction Management, Peter John Peppard. For the Graduate Diploma in Risk Management, Deborah Ann Smythe. Mr. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates to whom you have awarded the degree of Master. For the Master of Engineering with major studies in Computer Integrated Manufacture, Balba Gupta. For the Master of Engineering with major studies in Electrical and Electronic Engineering, Godratollah Reza Asadi Asaradabad. For the Master of Engineering with major studies in Manufacturing Engineering, Kong Huan. For the Master of Technology in Computer Integrated Manufacture, Dimitrios Souvassis. Yong Yao Yu. For the Master of Technology in Construction Management, Suryanna Rayana Raj Penam Atcha. Deputy Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates to whom you have awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For the Doctor of Philosophy, Hassan Fallah, whose thesis is titled An Integrated Production, Planning and Finite Scheduling Approach with Reduced Lead Time Effects. Mr. Hassan Fallah received his Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering and a Master of Science in System Analysis from the Faculty of Industrial Engineering, Iran University of Science and Technology. He was granted a comprehensive scholarship by the Ministry of Culture and Higher Education of the Iranian government to continue his studies for a Doctor of Philosophy degree. He completed his study under the supervision of Dr. Ibrahim Cheyenne. The purpose of his research was to develop an integrated material planning and operation scheduling approach for discrete manufacturing systems. The developed approach, called IMPOS, provides for the possibility of finite scheduling and short-term scheduling, a reduction in production lead time and work-in-progress inventory, and handling the dynamic behaviour of the real world. Several experimental and comparison tests have proven its superiority over the material requirements planning approach. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Hassan Fallah for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Barton David Forrester, whose thesis is titled Advanced Vibration Analysis Techniques for Fault Detection and Diagnosis in Geared Transmission Systems. The work presented in this thesis has been funded by the Australian Department of Defence, Defence Science and Technology Organisation. The primary aim was to develop methods for the detection and diagnosis of faults in helicopter transmission systems using advanced vibration analysis techniques. Faults in helicopter transmission systems, such as cracked gears, can result in loss of drive to the rotors and potentially catastrophic accidents. The techniques developed during the course of this research have proved capable of reliably detecting a number of safety critical faults in helicopter gearboxes and as such can significantly improve the safety of these aircraft. An in-flight monitoring system based on these techniques is currently being developed for permanent installation in Royal Australian Navy Sea King and Sea Hawk helicopters. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Barton David Forrester for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the awards for the Division of Science, Engineering and Design.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all members of the Swinburne community, I wish to offer our sincere congratulations to all who have received an award this evening. Swinburne is proud of its quality and it doesn't make awards lightly, and the fact that you have received awards tonight is a tribute to your ability, dedication and diligence in achieving a goal. We know that you've had a lot of encouragement and help from family and friends, many of them who are with you today, and that they have made a significant contribution in the encouragement that they have given you and the sacrifices that they have inevitably had to make to assist you in gaining these awards. We are proud of our staff at Swinburne, and I'm sure that all the graduates, recipients of awards would like me on their behalf to thank the academic staff for the assistance that they've provided to you during your particular courses. I hope that you will not consider that this is the end of your association with Swinburne. Education is a lifelong pursuit, and I believe that many of you who've received your first degrees tonight, that really is the start. And we hope that many of you will return for further studies. And I would also encourage you to join the Swinburne Alumni Association. I say that for two reasons. One is that I believe that networking in life is very important, and you've made some very close, I'm sure, personal friendships with fellow students during your time at Swinburne, and I'm sure that you'll be rewarded if you keep up those associations and contacts, and there's no better way than through the Swinburne Alumni Association. The other reason is because Swinburne needs you. Swinburne has a proud record of the employability of its graduates, which is among the highest of any university in Australia. The reason for that is because we focus on the needs of business, industry and the government. And we need feedback to make sure that that focus is correct. So we look to you in the future as you forge your careers in providing that link with Swinburne so that we can ensure that we meet your needs, the needs of your industry, and that we both prosper. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal part of the evening's proceedings, but I would like, on behalf of the members of Council, to invite you to remain for refreshments, which will be served in the theatre directly behind this hall. Would you please remain in your places until the official party, academic procession, and the graduates have left the hall? Would you please now stand?